一点嘛，小声。这个设定。
James Sparta, Oathbreaker, you bring this curse on
You are not fit to be called a Spartan! I lost everything because of you!
not there by chance, Kratos.
这是谁啊？老太太，不知道，没有印象。
You think you want truth, but truth will only bring you pain. My death will not free you from this madness!
哦，我就记得到阿波罗神像的时候，差不多要结束。过完阿波罗的时候，就差不多要结束。可是我没生完呢。
I would not have been strong enough to choose your path, Spartan.
Orcos.
I would have taken what my mothers offered.
I would rather live in truth.
他手怎么了？
I fear you may come to regret those words. Lord Ares still holds your bond.
This cannot be.
Before you killed them, my mothers once again made me your Earthkeeper. For you to be free, I must die by your hand.
I do not understand.
If you do not release me, my father will retain power over you, but even worse, I will live in eternal torture.
I have spilled enough innocent blood.
There is no other way, Spartan. Destroy the Oath. Kill Ares. Have your revenge.
啊，
复仇名称名字，不是那个叫什么？
I was never the warrior my father wanted me to be. But please, all I ask, give me an honorable death.
With the death of Orcus, the blood oath to Ares was finally broken, and the painful truth rushed back to Kratos' mind. The truth of the murder he committed, the slaughter of his wife and child, the carnage forged from his relentless ambition, surfaced in perfect clarity, and became the visions that would haunt him all of his days.
这是事实。对啊。烧起来，我以为就是他的实际上。
Now free of the Fury's madness, but still tortured by the truth of his past, Kratos left the only home he'd ever known and set out to undo all that he had wrought.
"但我没生完呢。
恭喜你全破了。
我还差一个等级，
啊，
看看难度啊！新游戏是什么？
就是他们之前设计的 X 不是可以连线玩，烂死了，根本就没人想玩。嗯，没有然后啊，
结束了。
那你就可以看那个啦，
然后是可以看到
多人游玩，对吧？
是最上面那个特别点，
就是这边电脑，就是影片啊，然后你看，
有选择吗？
有啊，还有声音啊，还有读取。剧情泄露警告：此纪录片谈到暴露我。
Hi, I'm Todd Pappy, game director at God of War Ascension. What you're about to see is a making of video that we've been shooting over about 2+ years. It gives you a good idea of the inception of an idea all the way through to the final product. Keep in mind that this is a work in progress. Enjoy.
每一个游戏都是这样，因为这样套模糊对。
Today we're at House of Moves in Culver City doing what we've dubbed VOMO cap, VO and motion capture at the same time.
This is the first time we've done the VO mocap. In the past, we've done just mocap and voice recording completely separate.
I love mocap.
又打
Love me
Polo
some
也
mocap.
比
Because the outfits are just hot.
The actors being together and acting out the
哎，
scene,
我也
having
给他
that
100分
relationship
哎，你
with
要不要
each
带我
other
打
adds
波
a lot to the scene.
It's more about being able to live whatever in that moment is through movement and voice. You know, this is a job where we get to come to work and play every day. The things that a friend of mine said, the things that used to put him into tension.
Welcome everybody, welcome back.
You walk into this room, quiet room, it's nighttime, and there's a little girl sleeping.
We're actually going to be doing an emotional scene with Kratos. This is one of the rarest cases, so it's going to be awesome.
I have missed you, child.
And one thing I didn't mention before you say the line and you're looking at her, only time we've ever seen you smile. Smile at your daughter.
In this one, we're trying to show off a little bit more of his humanity and seeing him smile, seeing him kiss his kid, seeing him hug his wife. After this, he really starts turning into supreme.
I would actually just go all that you lost can be yours once again. He's a little bit different guy in this one, I think, which I'm happy about. It's kind of the last moment of him having any kind of humanity in him.
She has grown. Been away far too long.
It's hard because we haven't really seen this side of Kratos, so we want to be careful not to lose his character. I think in that sense, this scene might possibly be the hardest one.
In the game, Kratos ends up in this prison of Hecaton, and the Furies, who have been kind of infecting his mind and causing these insanity moments, are trying a little bit different tactic and trying to give him what he wants.
So he's in this blissful illusion where he meets his wife and kid.
He's back to olive-skinned Kratos and goes and sees his kid. His kid's sleeping, goes in, gives her a kiss, sees the wife, has somewhat of an intimate encounter with her. There's something that Alecto does that pulls him out of that. Something doesn't feel right.
And then he finally figures out that it's not real, and he's more interested in knowing what the truth is.
This is the master bed. This is where he makes love to his wife. Yeah. The moment she does this, you no longer go for her anymore. But everything else looked awesome. When you're working on a computer, everything's so planned. You have to know exactly what you want. You know, a lot of times actors bring in something of their own that just, makes that scene that much better.
T-pose. Action.
One of the best parts is being able to work with other actors. It's like theater. And we could play an imaginary world because nothing's really there.
I try to push them interacting with each other more. I want to try to get that emotion through TC's acting as well as his voice.
I will never return to Lord Ares. Never!
TC, I love that hold.
Yeah, with the hand.
Very good.
The hard part is over, Spartan.
Jennifer stood out as she had the right voice for it. It was sultry. And out of all the Furies, that's what we were looking for Alecto, and being able to do the wife as well and sell those intimate encounters better.
I'm crazy, first of all, and so it's not really acting, it's just I can picture all of these things happening around, and I can picture myself looking this way. So that's my only advantage, I think, is that I'm certifiably insane.
Scene 7, take 1. Roll sound.
Sound speed.
T-pose. Roll video. Roll mocap.
Mocap speed.
Mark it.
Mark.
Places.
Action.
This is not the manner to discuss it.
When we started looking for Orcos, we did multiple sessions and found Troy. For me, he had the proper delivery and also regalness to his voice. Troy fit the bill.
The Furies are near. They cannot know I speak with you. I will draw them away. The truth waits for you in Delphi, Kratos. Seek the Oracle.
The story is so good, and the writing is brilliant, and the characters are so established that we'd have to try really hard to fail.
And what path is that?
Do not let illusion deceive you.
Then this is what you shall have.
Of all the minds in question, mine is not the one to worry about.
Use these items to still your mind, Kratos. Freedom from your bond to the god of war himself.
Troy, TC, and Jen did a great job. We got the voice direction the way I wanted it, and so I'm very happy with it.
It's been a really fun experience. I got to learn a lot.
It's fantastic to be able to work with the other actor. This is like heaven.
That's cool. I really would like to do more of this.
I'm excited to get it back to the studio and see it all come together.
We got a lot of great performances from our actors, and now it's time to implement it.
When we receive the raw motion capture data, oftentimes the characters aren't quite aligned properly, like say one person has to shake another person's hand, the hands might be a little bit off. There's no face, they just have deadpan puppet face, and we have to add in all the eye blinks and darts, all the mouth talking and emotion and eyebrows and everything. We do get pretty good fidelity with just the basic body, but every once in a while, maybe the actor didn't give us quite the performance we wanted, maybe Kratos didn't look manly enough, or maybe the wife didn't look wifey enough, so we go in and finesse the acting as well. So this is the video reference that we get back from the motion capture suit. That's Kratos' actor and the wife. I'll use this to get a sense of, well, where was her hand on his shoulder? What are the fingers doing? So when we get the motion capture data back, it's mapped onto these joints, which is kind of the skeleton of the character. Each joint is getting data about translation or rotation based on what the actor was doing at the time. This is Kratos and the wife doing their thing. On top of the rig, we have the characters that get mapped onto these joints. From there, we have these controls that we can put on. These controls are what I can actually use and manipulate the animation like this. Move him around, adjust his arms or whatever. So I will often take this data, copy it into my scene with the environment, and then start adjusting his hands or his torso to make it look a little better. Maybe the hand isn't quite, they're not looking quite real, like they're actually holding hands, so I may end up moving her arm or his arm to make it look a little more realistic. So this scene has quite a lot of dialogue in it, but when we get the motion capture data back, it's not there. There's no audio, and you can see the mouths aren't moving, there's no facial animation happening. So what I will do, I'll bring it into my scene. So within my scene,
all that you have lost,
I've got the audio running.
It is not real.
We have these sliders where you can control his eyes, his eyebrows, or his mouth, and make these phonemes, which are basically the mouth shapes for when he's talking. So if I move this slider up and down, you can see his mouth is opening. And this is all done by hand. It's not part of the motion capture data.
It is not real.
Here we have video reference just on TC's face that we can study. I can really see the details of every blink and every mouth shape. It's very difficult to get subtle nuances when you're animating by hand without doing a lot of effort and work. For these emotional scenes, we wanted to get that subtlety, and in a game production, it's just we don't have time to spend getting all those nuances by hand. So the motion capture really helps save us some time.
Your mind is troubled, but your skills are still without equal.
Do you have business with me?
You can see her in the morning.
天哪，他前面是鱿鱼 ！Oh my god！
对啊，差不多是这样。这个很多啊，影片啊，对啊。
这样第四是哪个？
不知道这些影片我都忘了，而且大部分我都没看。你说这有剧透之类的？
是的，我这个没有看，大家看影片。
Hi, I'm Todd Pappy, game director, God of War Ascension. What you're about to see is a making of video that we've been shooting over about 2+ years. It gives you a good idea of the inception of an idea all the way through to the final product. Keep in mind that this is a work in progress. Enjoy.
Traditionally, Minotaur is half man, half bull, and that's what we've gone with in the past. This time around, we're messing with the Minotaur a little bit.
The sky is open in terms of what we can do with him.
My task for this Minotaur is to bring something different to the table, to the point where we're even talking about taking it outside of being a bull. So it's going to be some kind of new hybrid amalgamation.
We're trying to find all the aggressive mammals that we can and trying to bring them together with the human and see what we get.
With the Minotaur, it might not even be a Minotaur. The basic structure is that it's got to have the reverse need. It's got to be a somewhat imposing creature that's going to be somewhat of a difficult fight and more of a bully where he always tries to back you into a corner. Whether we go with rhino skin or something like that to add that extra layer and make it feel different.
One of the things that we wanted to do this time around was suggest that the creatures had a little bit more intelligence. And we figured the best way to do that would be by including some clothing, some accessories that weren't just armor. So there's going to be a lot more robes and things like that this time around. This is your sort of standard Minotaur approach, you know, the bull head with the horns and all that sort of thing. Here, I'm kind of taking it elsewhere. So this is a bear tar thing. Here's kind of a robot guy. When Todd and Chris saw this particular creature, there was mostly laughter. Absurdity is an interesting aspect to character design, particularly for this game, because as much as people think that everything that we're doing is totally there is a level of absurdity to every character that we make. That's kind of what makes them and memorable, is that they're kind of a little bit silly, but with fangs. They liked the idea of the bear, and they wanted to see other animals explored with that. So here, there's kind of a crocodile, sort of a rhino mixed with a bullfrog or something. Here's a rhino. They liked this guy, but they decided that he looked a little too Disney. Here's some boars, standard sort of boar with the big head approach. Here's a little bit more of a realistic look on the head. And this one appears to be the favorite right now, is this big elephant creature. I mean, these are early sketches, but I'm doing my best to follow the proportions of the Minotaur from God of War 3 so that they would fit the rig and the animations would fit.
We looked at rhinos, we looked at all sorts of different kind of characters, but the elephant really stuck. We felt that it would be a great replacement for the Minotaur.
After they decided that they wanted to go with the elephant, I started showing them some elephant variations, and this is when we were bringing back in the necessity for the rig that it was originally designed for. There was a lot of back and forth with this, trying to find the right proportions so that it would fit. Ultimately, this guy got scrapped altogether. The only thing I kept from him was his belt. Ultimately, this is the final Elephantar for the game, keeping the old Minotaur rig legs, but working with the new elephant upper body.
Once that stuck, it was, all right, well, let's get him in game and start getting this grayscale and see how he fits on the Minotaur rig. So we got him in game, and then we decided, you know, he's just not big enough. We got to scale him up now.
I know he's an elephant. Like, he should look really big on screen. So we scaled him up like 20%, and I think he looks much better. And really with this guy, I'm just really trying to get kind of the energy across that he has. You know, he's got a lot of attitude, and it's a really interesting looking character, you know? It's just like this crazy, like, rocky elephant dude. So you can see I'm just kind of laying in all the big shapes so I can get a better idea of how much detail I need to put in areas around his body and where I want to draw the eye. So let's say I went in and I just sculpted the body, did all the detailing, like all this armor, like all the armor plating and the skin texture and everything. If I don't go in there at some point and really start getting in the rest of his outfit, I could end up, you know, over detailing and overworking a bunch of areas that no one's ever going to see, and also kind of messing up the rhythms of his forms. Just really trying to lay in and capture his attitude and his character. If I zoom in really far, you see like this is just a mess right now. It's all pixelated and everything. But what's gonna happen is I'm gonna just keep subdividing up and going in there and just refining the detail and just like carving these shapes away. I just think of like this screaming, charging elephant, you know? He's just pissed off and he's gonna kick your ass. And that's kind of, you know, that's just kind of what I go with. Just a really, you know, like try and go with aggressive shapes and just, you know, make sure that comes across.
Elephantar came with a lot of challenges compared to previous character Minotaur. It has a lot of elements in it, like long tusks and the trunk. So when I animate, I just don't bother the trunk and do whatever I need to do, and then the trunk comes later. I like the grinder attack. He just has this loop of going all crazy. It's like he won't stop at anything, just go for it. Used to be shorter length, but then it got longer. It's 80 frame. Used to be like 50 frame of attack, but it needed time to get it looks really heavy. You have to see how heavy the club is. It's pretty much all about the timing.
We wanted a really tough creature, like an unstoppable juggernaut of sorts. In the previous God of Wars, the Minotaur kind of served that role. In this one, we step it up because, you know, this is the new God of War. For his character itself, we wanted someone that wasn't entirely savage, entirely out of control. We wanted someone that obviously had a lot of weight, had a lot of power, but was still borderline in control versus pure aggression. This is our test level that we experiment all our creatures in. He's swinging the giant club around. It's reminiscent of his tusks. This shows like he's from a long line of other stronger elephants. He's gonna try to grab me, and this is one of our instances where you're in an interactive sequence, but you're not having button prompts on the screen. And then here's the kill. So you've got him pinned down and like he's totally trying to grab you. So you hit all your buttons, try to take him out as quick as you can. And then this is the satisfying moment when you stab. Just tear it open and it just pops right out. God of War is a really gruesome, brutal game. So we always try to push the limits. In order to get the head splitting open, our tech artists actually made a seam right here. It splits open, and to actually animate a separate object that we replaced the top of the skull with the zipper tech. It popped open, and this is the brain. So this is where we hide one object. We reveal this one with the actual brain, and this when it pops out. And you know, obviously this is before all the effects and all their departments get their hands on it.
Bruno came to me about this kill. He just told me make it as as brutal as possible. So yeah, I was like, oh wow, this is gonna be cool. This is the beginning part of finishing off the elephant. Kratos yanks him to a position where he wants to slice his head open. So that's the first thing. The pose is very important. Like you can still be threatened by the elephant. He's pinned down, and then at this point you can slash his head. I added a little bit of the emotion on the eyebrow. I have this eye blinking a lot, blinking, and all of a sudden just froze. But I don't know. It kind of got lost with all the bloods going on. At this point, like Kratos just looked at his prize, like his finish move, and toss him away like a garbage.
I think Alphantar turned out great. I think the model looks absolutely fantastic.
你可以先看一下，你再玩一次单人游戏。
看我再玩一次。干嘛？
选择章节，从第一章开始。
干嘛？你在干嘛？你把我章节盖掉？
没有啊，这是你玩过的。
说干嘛？
因为你到时候可以选择章节，然后等下弄东西。
我说穿山熊，继续吃。听懂吗？
然后，哎，哦不行，要，
好，被盖掉，没了，
不可能吧？
新的多少件事？
应该是这样用的。你还记得你在游戏中都会拿到很多奇怪的道具，比方说游玩后。
加死我一下。
就这样。
哦，是可以改衣服哦。
每件衣服都有不同的那个效果。
那怎么看？